Alright, in the last video we made these three little enemies shoot at us all simultaneously. Let's move them around a little bit more. We're going to make it a little bit more fun inside of this video by making it so that the bullets don't just automatically go towards us. So let's go and manipulate the script really quick. Let's look inside of here and actually just make it so that the bullets are a little bit more sporadic on here. So instead of just doing get dir and just doing the target position minus the position, let's actually return something else. Right? Alright, so I didn't do a very good job of explaining this section of my tutorial when I made it, so I'm going to re-explain it here and just kind of cut the parts that I was editing just now. Okay, so right now what we're working on, and don't pay attention to things that are different from your script other than inside of get direction. This right here should match up pretty well by the time that we are done with everything. What this returns is the direction that the bullet is going to be traveling in, right? We're trying to make it so that we're returning something that has a little bit, it doesn't go directly to the player. The reason why is because we're going to have so many enemies shooting at us that we want it so that it's more of something that we have to dodge through, like a minefield or a bullet hell game, if you guys know what that is. The reason why we don't want the bullets going directly to us is because if all the bullets are going directly to us from all directions, it's easier to dodge. First, let's explain what we're doing here. So we're going to be creating a variable here, ret. You can name it whatever you want, but this variable is what we're going to be returning. It's going to be the direction that we are returning, that we're setting our dir to, right? And we do this in different places, like we say dir equals get dir player right here, for instance. And we've already done that inside the videos that you guys are inside. So it doesn't matter what this name is, because we're going to just be sending this back and setting the direction to this number, whatever it is, to this variable. So this should be pretty normal. It's pretty much what you got on there. Just make sure that you have a variable set to this inside of there. You might have something that looks like this inside of your game right now. You want it to look like this, var ret equals that. Then at the bottom of this, you want return ret before you get out of get dir. Right? Those are two things that kind of need to happen that kind of sandwich the rest of this stuff in. Now the rest of this is just changing up what ret is. And what this does is it makes it so that we have a variation in the amount of space that's occurring. So what we want to do is we'll make another variable to add into ret, and we want this to have a range to it. So this function right here makes it so that it gives you any number between these two numbers. It could be -0.2, -0.1, -0.15. It could be any number between -0.2 and 0.2. I'm going to change these numbers, so let's make it like -5 to 5 instead. What this is going to do, this vector2 right here, is it's going to add our ret.x to the r. So say this gives us -4, right? It's going to take the position, it's going to move it 4 to the left, and then it's going to move it 4 up as well. So you're going to get a completely different bullet. The bullet's going to be going to a little bit of a different location. Now, 5 pixels and 5 pixels just isn't that big, but if you find that it is too large, you can always just try to mess with this number and make it smaller, or if you find that it's not making a big enough difference, then you can always mess with the number and make it a bit larger as well. Alright, actually, when I went and tested that out, it actually created a bug inside the game when I had the -5 over here and the 5. And the reason why I created that bug is because we're using the get direction over here as well, where we're saying dir equals get dir player, and so they're getting the messed up direction for when they're moving to the player. This is a really good opportunity though to teach you about parameters. You see over here we're feeding in the parameter player over here, and we can make up whatever name we want right here, and we just have to make sure that we're using it inside the tabbed in function over here. So I could have made this like, you know, pickles, and then just use pickles over here, and it would have just used the player because I'm feeding in the player. See, the naming here doesn't really matter. So we're going to make a second thing here though, and we're going to make it to be the difference, the diff, right? Be the number that we want to use here, and we actually want that to be 0. And the physics process here, we also want it to be 0. So when it's getting the location of the player, we want that to be 0. And over here, we're going to use negative diff to diff instead of how we were doing it before, right? Now, over here, though, where we're shooting the bullet, we want that to be the bigger difference. So let's try the 5 right there, and that should do it. That should create all the difference. So you see over here, what all I did is I made a new variable, and now all I'm doing is feeding in a number for that variable in all these spots. And that number is giving us a random range. Now, one last bug here to fix is that this is actually not normalized anymore, and that kind of messed up a bit here. So what we want to actually do is, instead of doing this RET right here, we actually don't want to normalize it at this point right here, and we want to actually normalize it right here. The reason why is because if we normalize it up here, it's going to give us a normalized position adding in the difference, and then over here though, we'll add in the actual position difference over there. We'll add these numbers in, then we'll normalize it, and that'll actually make it so this thing functions correctly. And that should be all the changes that we need to make from my original video. Alright guys, so basically your getDir should look like this. And when you're using it, you should be feeding in a player location or wherever location you're trying to shoot at, and the amount of space difference that you want, well, the range of difference that you want as the second number there, or the second variable there. The second parameter is the right name. There, we're already getting a bit of a game here. Now, if I make it so that the player belongs to a player node, groups, we're going to name him inside the player, we're going to add that onto him, we're going to go to the enemy bullet, we're going to check the script that we have inside of here, and you see that we already have the cube free thing inside of there. And let's see what happens when they get shot. Not a thing, because we're only destroying the bullets. So let's actually go get tree. How do you reset the game? Reload current scene. There we go. Get tree, reload current scene like this. And this will make it so that we basically reset whenever we get shot. So let's take one of those out so it's a little bit easier to dodge for a little bit. And then let's get hit. Boom. And you see that we reset. Now we also want an elif inside the enemy bullet that says body.isInGroup, and we wanted to basically check to see if there's an obstacle there, and if it is, we want the bullet to be destroyed, because it's just not fair if it isn't destroyed in this case. Because we also want the player to be able to kind of go and hide behind this block right here, like that. Alright? And then if I get hit, boom. Woo! Alright, now they're all firing at the same time right now, which is kind of cool, but kind of not at the same time, right? So let's go over to It Doesn't Matter one more time. Let's go over to the script, and let's kind of create a timer offset onto here as well. In order to do this, we're going to have to, well, be able to manipulate our timer. Let's go down to where the timer is, and let's rename it to timer with lowercase. I just like that better. Let's delete our second two enemies because we don't need them for a little bit in here. It's emitting a signal right now, and you see inside of the inspector here that there's a wait time variable inside of here, and I'm actually not even sure how to manipulate with variables yet, so this is a good time for me to show you how I would figure it out. Normally, we're going to search for help, we're going to look for a timer, we're going to double click onto it, and we're going to look at what variables there are. You see that there's a float wait time. It lines up with that wait time that we already have inside the timer right here, so we know what we're trying to manipulate at this point. So we're going to use the random range to set a wait time between 0.5 and 1.5 so that they shoot at different rates. So let's go back into the enemy on here. You know what, we're just going to go right into the ready over here, and we're going to simply set the money sign on here, timer, like this, and as you see the name and the capitalized letter line up exactly with the timer that we have on me. And I'm going to say dot wait time. And by the way, if we go into the timer and we double check this, we want to click the wait time on there. You see that there's a set wait time and a get wait time, meaning that I can set this wait time's value without having to use any other functions on here. We're going to go back to the test shooting script here. We're going to set that wait time equal to the random range like we did last time. And we're going to set it from about 0.5 to 1.5. And then we're going to go back into our 2D scene here. We're going to select our enemy, and we're going to duplicate him, and we're going to move one, and we're going to duplicate that one, and we're going to move them, we're going to duplicate that one, and we're going to move them. And one more thing that we want the enemy bullet to do is that if it hits another enemy, we want that bullet to just disappear for now. We might make it so that it kills the enemy eventually, but we'll figure it out. And we'll just simply say Q free, like so. Oh, they all fired at the same rate. Are they firing at different rates? I think they are, but I think the initial wave of bullets is firing at the initial rate, and that's because we have the timer set up so that it auto starts on here, and it's probably auto starting for 1 second. So instead of doing that, let's actually make it so that the auto start doesn't get turned on. Start. Okay, so we'll use the start method. So let's go back into here. Let's do timer.start like that, and then let's use that time that we have inside of here. We'll use the timer's wait time itself because that's what the random range is gonna be. And let's see if it works this time. There it goes. Fired once, fired twice. There we go. And now we can just simply duplicate that enemy several times. So let's take the enemy, Control D, drag it over, Control D, drag it over, Control D, drag it over. And all the bullets should be firing at different rates. Yes, they are now. And they're going all over. Oh, died. Yeah. It's working out pretty good, guys. So now we've made this more sporadic bullet shooting. We've got things so that they're basically working out here. And honestly, we're about 4 or 5 videos from the end of this series, guys. We're just going to literally need to make it so that the enemies can now chase the player. We want it so that we have a more final solution to how we've got it so that the enemies are currently finding the player. We'll have to talk about static variables and singleton pattern and all that stuff at that point. Yeah. For now, we'll just leave it as is. In the next video, we'll probably go over that. We'll make a better AI that will actually follow the player and seek them out. We'll build in the ships on it. We'll animate some explosions. This is all stuff we still got to do. We'll make a scoring system. We'll make it so that there's like a shield on the player so that he has like, 3 shield points or something, or a health bar or something, so that it's not just one shot done. Or maybe we'll make it one shot done. It's kind of fun. And I think that's about all the stuff that I really want to get done on this game. And we'll make it so that it gets harder and harder as time goes on. And I think that about sums it up. So anyways, guys, I hope that you liked the video. Please like, subscribe, comment. Have a great day, guys.